Good. All right, and then I'm gonna make you host again. Oh, come on, Sheridan. Make host. Change host. There we go. Oh, look, and that's all recorded. So how good's that that people later on get to watch that back? Because that was bloody awkward.
How good is that? I'm like the cat amongst the pigeons tonight. Am I the only man in this whole Zoom call?
James is there. Yeah, James is there.
Oh,
Other than that, yes.
oh, Steve's there.
Oh, Steve's there, is he?
Yeah, look at
There
him
he
in the
is.
kitchen cleaning up the dishes.
Nah, he's one of the ladies.
Love it. I love
Oh, Glenn's there too. He's definitely one of the ladies. I've seen his dance moves. Those hips don't lie. Well, I'm going to introduce you, Dr. Ben. So, first of all, guys, thank you so much. And to those that are replaying this later, because there's always quite a few replays later on, which is amazing. But first of all, thank you guys for investing the time into this, into tonight on this little segment. But mostly, I just want to thank and welcome Dr. Ben, Mr. Dr. Ben Carvosso, who is hosting tonight. Round of applause. Dr. Ben is one of our dear friends. He's also our wizard chiropractor, and he's actually one of my coaches too. So I went and saw Dr. Ben for life coaching, and that got me out of a really stuck spot in my life, and I'm forever grateful for him there, because I don't think FBFM would be where it's at today or at all if it wasn't for that moment in my life as well. But tonight I'm really excited because he's going to be hosting, and he's going to be talking about 3 questions that unleash greatness. He's a sensational storyteller. He's an even better educator. So have your notepads and your pens ready. Please ask questions later on, but type them in the chat at any point. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ben Carvosso.
Thanks, Shez. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Seriously, thanks everyone for taking the time. Tonight you could be watching, I was going to say Big Brother, but it's not on anymore. It shows you how much I watch television. You could be watching something else instead of watching me. So I want to acknowledge you for doing that, because one of the things we're going to talk about tonight is where do you spend your time? And it's an important part of tonight's conversation. So I want to acknowledge you for spending your time hopefully in the right place tonight. Before we start, I wanted to ask you some questions. Sheridan's given me a little bit of a brief intro. But before we get into anything, all you guys know is that tonight is about unleashing greatness. So if we could unleash some greatness in you tonight, and there is a presupposition, if you saw my little Facebook post from yesterday, in unleashing greatness, the presupposition is that you have greatness in you. You all have greatness in you. It's just sitting there, and sometimes it just gets a bit stuck. So tonight's about how can we unleash it. And if we could unleash some greatness for you tonight, why would you want that to happen? So I'm sorry to say, but these workshops that I run are interactive. So we have something called the chat box. Who's a virgin to Zoom, by the way? Everyone knows how to use Zoom. Oh, that's so good. So if you look at the very bottom, there's a thing that says chat. Yep, so get your chat box up and just throw in there for me. I can't go any further until I get 10 things in the chat box. 10 reasons why you would want to unleash greatness. Why is this important that you are here tonight? Really important for me to know. Achieve my goals, I love it. Thanks, Shez. Keely, for my family. I love that. We're going to talk a lot about that later on. To get the most out of life. Yep. To better my life. Live a life force. Oh, you guys are machines. I love it. Future. You only live once. Apparently. To be successful, self-development. Try and understand my potential. To benefit others. Nice, James. To prepare myself for fatherhood. We're going to talk a lot about legacy towards the end tonight. To better my life and be successful. The question I want you to ask yourself, thank you for putting that in there. That is awesome. And you don't have to put this in the chat box. But the question I want you to think about, and hopefully you've got pen and paper, is why is that important to you? Why is it important for you to be successful? Why is it important to think about the future? Why is it important to do self-development? Why is it important to benefit others? Why is it important to achieve your goals? So often when we answer a question, we answer it sometimes at a low level, at an easy level. And if any of you have got kids, you know kids, if you answer them at an easy level, what's the next question they'll ask you? Why? Who's got kids? Yeah, don't they? You say, you can't do that. They go, why? And then you give them a reason. They go, why? And why? If you guys really want to get to the gist of why you're here, you need to ask that question, why? And I encourage you to do that more. But what you've put in there, we're going to nail that tonight. I promise you that at the end tonight, that list, we're going to nail, because that list is not unusual. When a client starts with me, we start with what we call a discover coaching session. It's where we spend some time to discover what's really going on for them. And when it eventually gets boiled down, I find clients that start with me are in one of three categories. I'm going to explain these categories and you can decide for you where you might be at. The first category is they're in the stuck life, the trapped life. Have everyone been to the zoo and you see an animal and they're behind the cage? That's sometimes how people think. They think they're caged, and they're in the cage. And if you've seen an animal that's first been put to the zoo, they're looking outside the cage and they're blaming the world for why they're in the cage. They're angry, they're frustrated, they're pacing back and forth, they're pissed off. They're saying, you don't understand why I'm in here. You don't understand why I'm stuck. You don't understand why I can't change my life. You don't understand why I'm doing the same thing over and over again and can't change. If only you knew my history, if only you knew what happened to me, you'd appreciate why I'm stuck. Or they're saying, it's not me, it's them. It's the government. It's Dan Andrews. Don't get me started on that. It's Dan Andrews. It's the church. It's my husband. It's my father or my mother or my kids or my boss. They're pointing outside of themselves and they're saying, if only you knew what they're like. They have caused me to be stuck. So they're blaming something outside of themselves. And they're frustrated and they're pissed off. They're pacing back and forth. And if you've been to the zoo and seen an animal that's been in the zoo for a long period of time, you'll see them at the back of the cage. Who knows what I'm talking about, right? They're right at the back and they're sucking their thumb and they're rocking because they've given up. No longer is there kind of a cage with a door to it. Some people have given up. They think the door has disappeared and now it's just bars. And the challenge is they can still see through the bars. They can see there is a life outside of the cage. They can see that there's potential, there's opportunity, but they've given up. They're tired all the time. The first person is angry and frustrated and pacing and moving quick and, you can't kind of pin them down. The second type of stuck is the person that's tired all the time and can't be bothered. Doesn't really matter, whatever. Some people are so stuck that the bars have disappeared and now they're in solitary confinement. They can no longer see a future. Everyone's seen the movies, right, where they're in solitary confinement and there's a door and there's a slot in the door. Does everyone know what I'm talking about? Where the slot, where they open it and put the food tray through and then close the slot. Well, these people are in solitary confinement and the slot is left open. So they can see there's light on the other side. They can see there's something there, but they've lost connection with it. And there are some people where the slot gets closed and there is no longer any light. And they decide to take their life. There is no future, there is no hope. This is the stuck life. Now, the cool thing is, there's a life outside of that. There's a life outside of the cage. So instead of the stuck life, I call this the so-so life. Instead of the trapped life, I call this the tepid life. Who likes a tepid cup of tea? No one likes a tepid cup of tea. We like a hot cup of tea or a cold iced tea, don't we? Who likes tepid water to drink? No, we like cold water or hot water. These people are living the tepid life, the so-so life. They're just getting by. They're just getting by in their relationship. They're just getting by in their health. They're just getting by in their bank account. If you ask them how's life, they'd go, good. It's pretty good. I got a pretty good job. You know, my wife, she's all right. She's pretty good. And, we make enough money, and we have a dinner party on a Friday night. We go to, Tight Ass Tuesdays on Tuesday to see the movies, like it's pretty good. It's tepid. It's neither hot nor cold. They're just getting by. They're living at zero. It's like they're out of the cage, but they're still in the zoo. And there's a life outside of that. This is the exciting one. This is the turned on life. This is like you're out of the cage, out of the zoo, and you're in the theme park. When was the last time someone's been to a theme park? I'm going to shut this door. It's been a while, hasn't it? Does anyone remember the last time you were at a theme park with roller coasters? Yeah? Does everyone know that feeling when you're getting on a roller coaster? I'm not a big fan of roller coasters, right? But that feeling, when you're kind of excited about the ride, like it looks exciting, but as you get closer to your turn to get on, the nervousness comes up. Yeah? I remember we were at, up at the Gold Coast. It was probably about 5 years ago. The kids were a bit littler, is that a word, back then. My wife, it was a rainy day, and my wife says to me early in the morning, I think we'll go to the theme parks today. And I said, nah, I don't want to go to theme parks. So I don't really like theme parks. I don't like the whole rides and all that sort of stuff. There'll be crowds and it's raining. So we went to the theme park. And we get there and we get on this first ride. It was an easy ride. And they said, that was boring. Let's go to the next ride. And so we went to the next ride, which was called Lethal Weapon. Does everyone know the ride I'm talking about, right? It's where you get strapped in and the thing goes upside down. Now, I'm not really keen on rides. Anyway, we get there, it's raining, heaps of rides are closed, big long lines. So we're in the line. It's about a 45-minute wait to get on. And we're getting through, and as we get closer towards the end, when we're just about to get on, I think to myself, I've got to go to the loo. And if I time it well, by the time I get back, they will have gone on and I will have missed the ride. Anyway, I timed it poorly. I got back just in time to get on. And as I go to get on, of course, Michelle doesn't get on. She stays to take the pictures of me and the kids getting on. Anyway, I go to get on and Logan grabs my hand because I was getting on with my son Logan at the time. And he goes, Dad, I'm really scared. And I said, mate, it's okay. Hold my hand. And it was like, no, hold my hand because I'm even scared, right? Anyway, we get on. Michelle's there taking the pictures. We get on and the nervousness is building and building and building. And they lock you in, and the ratchet mechanism, like you pull on it and you pull and you pull. Mate, I pulled that thing so hard, I almost squeezed all the air out of my lungs. It was ratcheted in as tight as it could possibly go. But the moment the thing took off, all that nervousness disappeared. That huge build-up disappeared. I was still nervous during the ride, but it just wasn't that build-up. And isn't that true of life? That once we kind of get strapped in, once we're committed, once we've started the journey, often the nervousness disappears. Anyway, we finished the ride. It was amazing. It's crazy, epic. And we get off and we see the photos that Michelle had taken. And you look at the photo. Now, internally, I had this incredible nervousness, like massive butterflies. Heart was pounding in my chest. But in the photograph Michelle took, I was smiling like a Cheshire cat. I was super excited in one hand to get on the ride, but super nervous at the same time. This is the turned on life. And so many of us are avoiding that because we don't want the nervousness. We just want the excitement. The catch is true joy is when we bring nervousness and excitement together. So many people are not doing turned on. They're doing trapped or tepid because they don't want the nervousness. You guys remember the first kiss. Do you remember that, right? There was incredible nervousness about leaning in for the kiss, but an incredible excitement at the same time. The first job interview, the first day at school, this nervousness and excitement, that is true joy. So 3 lives, trapped, tepid, or turned on. Where are you? Where are you right now? You don't have to put that in the chat box, but I want you to think about that. Because tonight, I'm going to share with you a way that if you are trapped or that you are in the tepid life, how you can get turned on. I want to introduce you to this guy at the back. We might be able to see that picture. I'm going to bring it up a bit closer. There's a guy called Lou Holtz. Old codger, but a good old codger. Lou Holtz was a famous American football coach. And if you saw my Facebook post, you know this story, right? Lou was famous for lots of different things, but one of the things that he was famous for was taking losers and turning them into winners, unleashing their greatness. He could take teams that were at the bottom of the ladder, the worst of the worst team. I don't know what that means in AFL football, but whatever that team is, right? What is that team? There'll be some footy people out here. Come off mute. You feel free to come off mute. What's the worst team in the AFL at the moment? No one can come off mute, Shez. Can no one come off mute? Oh, someone's got it. Carlton, worst team on the ladder, right? Bottom of the ladder. Well, Lou could take Carlton all the way to the top of the ladder and on to win the AFL Grand Final. In American college football, they call that the Rose Bowl. So he could take a team at the bottom all the way to the top in 2 years and on to win the Rose Bowl. And he did it 5 times in his coaching career, which is pretty phenomenal. Take a team at the bottom all the way to the top within 2 years and win. But here's the catch. He took 98% of the original players. He didn't buy players in. He didn't, get rid of players and get extra players in and change the team. He took the original team, 98% of the original team, and did something magic. And within 2 years, turned those losers into winners. Well, Lou was asked, Lou, what's the secret? How do you do it? He said, it's really simple. I just ask 3 questions. Now, these 3 questions, by the way, you ask of each other. Others ask of you, you ask of others. You're probably asking of me. But most importantly, these 3 questions, you ask of you. And these 3 questions, Lou uses to unleash the team's greatness. Who's keen on the 3 questions? Who wants to know? Sheridan wants to know. Good. Stacey wants to know. The first question Lou asks, has everyone got their pen and paper? Kim, have you got a pen and paper? You have, you're a champion. The first question Lou asks is, can you be trusted? Can you be trusted? Sadly, for many of us, the answer is no. I said I was going to, and I didn't. I said I was going to get up at 6, but I didn't get up at 6. I said I wasn't going to have the cheesecake, but I had the cheesecake. I said I was going to get to work and do that task, but I didn't do that task. So often we make a promise to ourselves, not to others. It's not that others can't trust us. It's not that we're necessarily untrustworthy to others. We're untrustworthy to ourselves. So when we think about trust, throw in the chat box for me, what word for you is kind of the same word as trust? When we talk about can you be trusted, what are we really asking? Can you be what? Throw that in the chat box for me. I'd be interested to know what your thoughts are. Can I be honest? Can I be reliable? Awesome. Can you be real? Yes. Committed. Nice. Loyal. I love it. You guys are spot on. The word that I would use is, can you be consistent? Can you say one thing and be consistent with what you say? Sadly, for many of us, the answer is no. But I've got something to help you out here. I'm going to help you be more consistent. Because when we think about consistency, really it's about willpower, isn't it? Who's ever heard of that word, willpower? Willpower is a bit like a battery. So, in the morning when you wake up and you grab your phone, and up in one little corner of your phone, there's a little battery symbol, and it's usually at 100% charge. And as you use your phone throughout the day, what happens to the battery? It starts to drain. You make calls, you surf Facebook, what else do you do on your phone? Google, all those other things that we do with our phone. And Flick, what is that? What is that one? Instagram? Is that Instagram? Why is the picture on you and not on me? Why can't I see me? All I can see is Sheridan. I'm going to go back to the group shot. You look good, Cheers. It's at full charge. As you use it, it starts to drain. Well, willpower is the same. When you wake up in the morning, there's a real potential for you to have an incredible store of willpower. But every time you make a decision, you drain that battery. So here's how it looks for some of us. We wake up in the morning. We said we're going to get up at 6. We set the alarm for 6. The alarm goes off at 6 and we lay there going, should I get up or not get up? Like, I got up early yesterday. Do I really need to get up today? Drain. Every time you have to think about making a decision, that battery is getting drained. And we think, oh, look, I'll just hit the snooze. You hit the snooze, alarm goes off again. 10 past 6. Oh, I should get up. Will I get up? Look, I think I'll get up. Oh, look, I've got time. I'll hit the snooze one more time. 6:20, alarm goes off. Oh, I should get up, but I've kind of missed it now. By the time I get out, probably I've missed the thing. Oh, look, I'll get up. And then you get up and you go to the wardrobe and you think, what will I put on? Drain. You get out to the kitchen. You think, what will I have for dinner or breakfast, I should say? Drain. I saw my son recently, 18, right? He wanders out to the kitchen. Who's got teenagers? I always hit, Eden was telling me Gabby, he or she always hits snooze on the alarm. Who's got teenagers? So this is what Logan looks like, 18. He comes out to the kitchen and he opens the fridge. And he looks, it's like he's waiting for the meal to appear and be put on a plate and handed to him. And then he closes the fridge and he goes to the walk-in pantry. And then back to the fridge, like he's waiting for the meal to be prepared. Who's got a teenager like that? Yeah, just me. But you're draining your battery. Every time you're trying to make a decision, your battery is draining. Will I go to work now or will I go a little bit later? What will I wear for work? What path will I go on? Drain, 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 drain. Many of you get to work by 9 o'clock and the battery's almost empty. Your willpower battery is drained. You've got no hope for the rest of the day. So the key to willpower is make less decisions. Set yourself up for success. Make less decisions. Save the battery for the decisions that really matter, the ones that will impact your life, the decisions that make a difference. How do you do that? Create rituals in your life. Have a morning ritual. When you set the alarm for 6, you just get up at 6. There is zero drain in your battery. It's still at 100%. And then when you get up at 6, your gym gear is at the end of the bed, already prepared from the night before. You don't even have to think about what you're putting on. It's there. You just slip it on. No drain in the battery. You go out to the kitchen and you have the same thing for breakfast. You take the same path to work. You save the decision making for the things that really matter. Step number 1. Number 2 is, when it comes to this battery, is if you want to have more willpower, first of all, don't drain it. But secondly, get a bigger battery. It's what the phone companies have been doing. Every year, there's a new edition, the battery's bigger, it lasts longer. Just get a bigger battery. How do you get a bigger battery? How do you make the willpower battery bigger? Get connected with why. Get connected with what's really important. When the why is big enough, you've heard this before, the how will take care of itself. Get connected with what's really, really important. So many of us are using motivation, and we've all joined. Are we all in the 8-week challenge? Is everyone in the 8-week challenge? We're all in the 8-week challenge because we wanted motivation, didn't we? You're inspired at some level. You want to lose weight. You want to get stronger. You want to get fitter. You want to get faster. You want to get more flexible. But we joined the 8-week challenge because we wanted a bit of motivation. Can everyone see that picture right? Yes, beautiful. Do you know what that is? That's a donkey, right? Everyone knows the story about the donkey, right? We can put someone at the back of the donkey with a big stick and whack the donkey on the arse, and the donkey will move forward. And we call that away motivation, and it's incredibly powerful. The other thing we can do is dangle a carrot at the front of the donkey, and the donkey's going to move forward to try and get the carrot. We call that towards motivation. And that's pretty effective too. Nowhere near as effective as this. Pain and pleasure. Away motivation, towards motivation, and it works. And you're in the 8-week challenge because it delivers that. It gives you motivation. It holds you accountable. Who took the pictures on Monday? Ouch! Ouch. Did you get motivated when you looked at the pictures? Yeah, Eden did. I did. And motivation is effective. The catch is, if we keep whacking the donkey on the arse, eventually what happens? The donkey develops a callus and it stops working. It stops feeling the pain. Or if we rely just on the carrot, eventually the carrot shrivels up and drops off and the donkey stops moving forward. These are great kickstarters. The 8-week challenge is going to be a great kickstarter. But if you want to keep this going, you're going to need something else. You're going to need this. You're going to need inspiration, not motivation. Inspiration. You've got to connect with what's really important, your why. Why are you doing this? Why do you want to, if I scroll back here, why do you want a goal set? Why do you want to have a better life? Why do you want a future? Why do you want to be successful? You've got to connect with the why, the real why. That's inspiration. And tonight you're not going to do that. I'm going to give you some tools to do it. But you guys are going to have to spend some time doing some critical thinking, really thinking about what you want. Because most people are doing what they should do. You should lose weight. You should exercise more. You should get another job. You should make more money. You should leave that partner. You should get a partner. You should have kids. You shouldn't have kids. You should get a house. You shouldn't get a house. You should rent. You should maybe should. We live lives of should rather than lives of what we really want. So if you're really clear about what you want, if you're really clear about your why around your purpose, you'll make some incredible plans. You'll become the person you need to become. You'll develop the personality, the character, the ethos, the culture inside to be the person you need to be. And importantly, you'll become productive. You'll actually start taking action and you'll have a profitable life. That is, for the time and the energy and the money and the effort and the sanity that we put into life, you'll have more at the end of the week or the month or the year. You'll be profitable. More marriage, more money, more career, more health. But if you start doing what you should do, instead you end up broke. For all the time and the effort and the energy, you end up with something you didn't really want. You end up with less marriage, less happiness, less money, less career, less health. I'm going to encourage you guys, get connected with what's really important. This will drive you beyond the 8 weeks. It'll drive you through the 8 weeks as well. You'll nail it. Don't get too connected with it because I still plan to win, right? Like I should have learned last time. But anyway, let's not get me started on that. No, not really. Get connected with why. Get connected with what's important because that gives you a big battery. Stop making decisions. That's how you get willpower. That's how you become consistent. That's how you become trusted. So jump in the chat box for me. What was your take home for that? What do you need to do? Knowledge is not power. It's the application of knowledge that's power. You guys know that. What's your take home out of that? Question number 1, Lou asks is, can you be trusted? How could you do better at that tomorrow? When you wake up tomorrow, how could you do better at that? Get real on my why. Yep. Nice, Chez. Create rituals. They're powerful. Churches have rituals. Teams have rituals. All the greats in the world that kick ass, they have rituals and they never break a ritual. Yeah. I'm not talking about a habit. I'm talking about a ritual. It's got a power to it. What's the word I'm looking for? It's got an energy to it when we talk about rituals. Create rituals, get a plan. Well done, Steve and Helen. Who said plan out of Steve and Helen? I don't know. We're going to go there. Whoever said plan, a plan is great. We've got to start with purpose first. We've got to start with the reason that we would want to plan. You can see on my walls here, here are some big plans. One of the things I do with my coaching clients is we take their purpose and we create some incredible plans around that. So these are plans. This is driven. So for example, Michelle and I built a house about 11 years ago. We started with why? Why are we building a house? Because we want to raise our kids in a house where their friends come to our house all the time and, we can have parties and, there's a whole why. And then we went to an architect and we had the plans drawn up that reflected the vision for our life. So got to start with the vision, the purpose first, then go and make the plans.
Check the chat box.
Chat box. You can tell me to check the chat box. Can you please say the 3 questions again to make sure I've got it? Gabby, I haven't given you the 3 questions yet. I've only given you 1. Everyone's got to be good and play to get the other questions. So question number 1, Gabby, was, can you be trusted? I'm about to come up with question number 2. What else do you need to do? Create rituals, plan, be organised. Steve said plan. I love the idea of a plan, Steve. Make sure it's driven by purpose. Find out what inspires me. Picture the end result. I love it. I'll tell you what, you guys have already been awesome. Sherry, can you remind me, what I'm going to do is gift everyone. I've got something called an envisioning process. It's where we help milk out of you what you really want your life to look like, what your vision is, what you envision for your life. I'll gift that program to everyone so that they can kind of go and do a little bit of that soul searching. Any questions on that before I move on to question number 2? Awesome. I love it. Thank you. Question number 2. Are you committed to excellence? Question number 1, can you be trusted? And question number 2 is, are you committed to excellence? Are you committed to excellence? What does that mean to be committed to excellence? To be your best? Well, I think when I think about excellence, it really comes from 3 things. Number 1, to be committed to excellence is the 3 E's, education. Do you educate yourself? Are you a seeker of knowledge? And as I said earlier, and I acknowledge you all for being here at 7:30 instead of watching something else, what are you watching? What are you listening to? What YouTube do you watch? What books do you read? What magazines do you read? Are you, by the way, Shez, can you thank Maddie for lending me his 50 Shades of Grey? Are you reading 50 Shades of Grey, or are you reading The Magic of Thinking Big? How to set your goals high and exceed them. Discover the secrets of mind action. Launch yourself to success with the power of belief. Stand head and shoulders above the rest. Which book are you reading? Are you reading Life CEO? Great book, awesome author. Couldn't help but plug. Life CEO, take charge and start doing your life's work rather than your busy work. Are you reading that? Are you reading good old Jimmy Collins' book, Great by Choice? Uncertainty, Chaos and Luck, Why Some Thrive Despite Them All. Which books are you reading? What magazines are you reading? Are you reading Famous magazine? Brad, 398 texts to Selena. He's 52, she's 23. Gaga and Taylor's Joy. Yes, we're pregnant. Bizarre, Golden Globe taco cleanse. What are you reading? Or are you reading Success magazine? Could you get there as a magazine titled Success? Why would you not buy that? On pushing past your comfort zone to achieve the extraordinary, 6 quick confidence boosters, an action plan for hitting your sales targets, how to learn to delegate, reach your goals. Success magazine. What are you reading? What are you watching on telly? What are you filling your mind with? Are you educating yourself? And then number 2, the second E in are you committed to excellence is, are you experiencing it? Are you trying it on? As I said earlier, knowledge is not power. It's the application of that knowledge that's power. So often we read something, we attend a workshop like this, and we nod and we smile and we finish and we go, that guy was awesome. He's a machine. You should have been there. And the next day we just continue with what we were doing. We don't change our rituals. We don't spend the time to do the critical thinking. We don't go and do the envisioning thing. We got it in the mail. We kind of flicked through it. It looked pretty good, but we didn't do the work. Do you take that knowledge, that education, and do you try it on? Do you see how it works in your life? That's a commitment to excellence. And the last is, who are you engaging with? Who do you hang out with? We know. You guys know this, right? We take the average of your 5 closest friends. If we take the average of their health, it's yours. Take the average of their weight, it's yours. Take the average of their bank account, and it's your bank account. Take the average of their marriage, it's your marriage. Take the average of your 5 closest people that you hang out with regularly, it's your life. You want a better life? Hang out with better people. You want a better marriage? Hang out with people who've got amazing marriages. You want a better career? Hang out with people who've got cool careers. You want better health? Hang out with fit people. Who are you hanging out with? Some of you need better friends. Like, you need better friends. Some of your friends suck. Some are awesome. And I'm not saying don't love the friends that don't lift you up and lift the average. I'm not saying don't love them and care for them. Just don't hang around with them. Some of you also need to stop hanging out with friend tours, and you really need to find yourself some mentors. You ever know the difference between the two? Give me a nod if you do. Give me a shake if you don't. Yeah, good. So we've got some nods and shakes. I love it. So here's what a friend tour does, right? I'm having a tough day, and I'm a little pissed off at the end of the day. So I get home and I ring my friend tour and I go, mate, how are you going? He goes, oh, mate, good. How are you going? I go, oh, look, to be honest, shit house. You know, my boss, he's a prick. You know, this and that and this and that. And, pointing outside, right? I'm in the cage. I'm pointing outside the cage, blaming something outside of myself. And your mate goes, your friend tour goes, oh, mate, that sucks. Let's catch up for a beer. And you go down to the pub, you have a beer, and you bitch and moan, and you tell your mate about all your boss and your wife who's a bitch, and the kids, and and the this and the that and the. And your mate goes to you, mate, that sucks. Get you another beer. That's a friend tour. They keep you playing at the same level. Versus a mentor, you ring a mentor after a tough day, and you have a bitch about your boss to the mentor. He goes, mate, how are you responsible for that? How could you play better? How could you do better next week? Some of us need to get ourselves some mentors. Some people that say to us, you know what, dude? You could do better. You could play it at a better level, a bigger level. You could think bigger. You could play bigger. How are you responsible for the reason your life is the way it is? Now, mentors you can pay for. People pay for me to mentor them. They pay for me to coach and mentor them. But there's heaps of people that are happy if you ask them to put their hand up and say, hey, yeah, I'll give you some advice. When was it? Was it last year, Shiz? Was it the year before? It was last year. Maddie and I and my brother decided to put our hand up for an adventure race. In fact, even before that, when we started triathlons, I had a mate, Ash. He's a triathlon, Ironman, adventure racer. He's a machine. When I decided to start triathlons, I thought, I need a mentor who's a triathlete. So I rang Ash and said, Ash, can we catch up for a coffee? And so Ash and I, we had coffees and we had another coffee and we spent more time together. And he mentored me through becoming a triathlete. He mentored Matt and I and my brother through, doing the adventure race last year. There's heaps of mentors out there if you just ask. And people that are great at what they do, they love talking about what they do. Yeah. So, are you committed to excellence? 3 things. Are you educating yourself with the right kind of stuff? What are you putting into your mind? Are you then trying it on? Are you experiencing it? And then importantly, who are you engaging with? Who are you hanging out with? How could you do better? Knowledge is not power, action is. Put in the chat box for me. What came up for you out of that? Where could you do something different? Now, I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 of you. I need 16 in the chat box. Unless your fingers don't work or haven't got any fingers, you don't have to put anything in. Steve's on it. Look at him. Go. Thank God you're here, Steve. I was feeling way too much estrogen. There's a little bit of testosterone helps. I need to surround myself with different people. Yeah, Kelly. Change what I read. I love it. There's a great book. Did I tell you about this great book? Oh, I did actually mention it already. Educate myself, growth mindset, engage mentors quicker and more. Yeah, shares. There are heaps of people are keen. Friends need to do better. Friends, educate. Stop being on Facebook, except for FBFM 8-week challenge. Educate more, podcasts, educate more. Good, so I love education is coming up quite a bit. Make sure it's the right one though. Make sure it's something that, you need to feel nervous and excitement. So often we read stuff that we feel comfortable with. It's our stuff, right? We kind of know it. We don't feel challenged by it. If you're a Christian, read some Buddhist stuff or Muslim stuff. If you're, left wing, read some right wing stuff. If you're, into natural health and, all that kumbaya stuff, read some stuff about drugs that's, a positive story about doing drugs and injections and vaccinations and, whatever else the other stuff is. Read stuff that challenges you. You don't have to always agree with it. In fact, the people you hang out with, the stuff you read, should create a little bit of tension in your system. Because if it doesn't, then it's just a waste of time. If this little workshop that we're doing, this IQ session, if you don't get a little pissed off, then it's been a waste of time. If you don't get a little annoyed, if you don't feel a little bit of tension, if your heart doesn't race just a little bit, then it's a waste. Because you already knew it all, right? Do you already know what I'm talking about? Yeah? So make sure you read stuff. Make sure you engage with people where you feel that challenge. It's important. You're awesome. I love it. Well done, guys. Lastly, last question. You got your pen and paper ready? It's a big one. Do you care? Can you be trusted? Are you committed to excellence? And do you care? Now, I think about do you care, I think about two do you cares, really. First do you care is, do you care about you? Do you care about you? Great book, by the way. Ryan Holiday, he's got some really good stuff on Stoic philosophy. I thought I'd just read you this. Spectacles on. Makes me look clever. If you do get this book, it's page 373. Know thyself before it's too late. Death lies heavily upon one who, known exceedingly well by all, dies unknown to himself. By Seneca. Ryan goes on to kind of break that down. Some of the most powerful and important people in the world seem to have almost no self-awareness. Although total strangers know endless amounts of trivia about them, celebrities, because they are too busy or because it hurts too much, appear to know very little about themselves. We can be guilty of the same sin. We ignore Socrates' dictum to know thyself, often realizing we have done so at our peril. Years later, when we wake up one day and realize how rarely we have asked ourselves questions like, who am I? What is important to me? What do I like? And what do I need? Right now, you have the time to explore yourself, to understand your own mind and body. Don't wait. Know yourself before it's impossibly late. Do you care? Do you care enough to take the time to get to know yourself? What's really important to you? Unfortunately, many of us don't. It's too painful to go there. This is the critical thinking. Back to this battery, right? Willpower is about two things, about making less decisions, but about making the decisions that really matter to you and knowing why you would make those decisions, knowing your purpose. It's a bit of critical thinking there. You've got to get to know yourself. And secondly, do you care about others? Are you curious? Are you curious about other people's worlds? Louis Holtz, he said, I never learned nothing by making statements. I only learned by asking questions. Jimmy Collins wrote another book called Good to Great. This one's great by choice. Jimmy Collins asks, what's your question to statement ratio? How many questions do you ask to statements do you make? I reckon we could all do better about that. So we've got 2 ears and 1 mouth. Are you curious about other people's world? And secondly, are you curious, but then do you seek to understand? Not to agree, but do you seek to understand other people? Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. First seek to understand, then seek to be understood. Do you seek to understand? Are you curious enough to explore someone else's world and then seek to understand it, not necessarily to agree? I agree with them. The other thing, I often talk about this TV series, but I think I'm the only person that watches it. Has anyone watched the TV series Alone? See, I proved myself right. So I'll explain the TV series to you. They take 10 people and they take them up to like Vancouver, Canada, in the jungle, watery kind of area up there. It's Vancouver. That sounds Canada. Is that Canada? Am I in the right place? Yeah. They take the 10 people up there. They're allowed to take 15 items with them. They're dumped alone, not the 10 people together, all by themselves with 15 items, no food, no water, and it's last man standing. They have a camera crew. They have portable GoPros. Once a week, a team come to the island or wherever they are to do a health check, but they don't talk to them the whole time. So the person just arrives, they stand, take the blood pressure, take a blood sample, no conversation. The team then leave. And this person the whole time is recording, their experience of being alone. It's an amazing show. If you want to see character development, if you want to see what happens when you're put alone, when we don't have that connection, it's amazing. It's a really good show. Anyway, 24 hours in, someone pulls a pin. So they've all got an EPIRB and a sat phone. And if you want out, if you can't last, if something happens to you, you just call, and the moment you call, you're out. There's no call and get fixed up and stay in the game. No, you're out. And the winner, by the way, wins $500,000. Last man standing. Someone's out 24 hours, next person's out 3 days later, next person's out a week later, next person's out 2 weeks later. People, and these burly blokes, and everyone's a hero. People are dropping like flies. Well, the winner, the last 2 people that were in this, when they're interviewed prior to going out, they said that they're doing this for something outside of themselves. They weren't doing it for themselves. They weren't doing it for the $500,000 for themselves. The second last person in series 1, he was there for the Iraqi vets, Iraq War, for the American vets in the Iraq War, and 27 of his platoon or whatever it was that were killed. He was there to make a statement around that and to take that $500,000 and put that back to, vets coming back from the war. The last person that ended up being the last man standing, and I think he lasted close to 100 days by himself. To get his own food, own water. Mate, you want weight loss? Whew, you should see these guys. He was a pastor, and for all his life, he'd been looking after others and not his own family. He hadn't spent time with his own family. He hadn't put time into his own family. They had no money. And he was doing it to get that $500,000 so he could reconnect with his family again, so he could give his children the life that they kind of hadn't had because he was never around and they never had any money. Do you care? Do you care about others that's bigger and beyond just yourself, where there is a bigger impact? And then lastly, legacy. Do you care enough to leave a legacy? Remember, we're leaving a legacy every single day. You're leaving a legacy from the interaction you have with us in this group. You're leaving a legacy from all the people that you contact. And one day, you will die. As my great mentor, Dr. Guy Reichman, said to me when I was 19, maybe 20. He was a coach and a mentor of mine back when I was 19. I remember we were in this auditorium and he was a phenomenal guy, just incredible presence. And he said, one day you will die and there will be a wailing and gnashing of teeth. And the next day, everyone will go back to work. And isn't that true, right? My, wow, surprising. My mum passed away 3 years ago. And I remember the night that she died. I got this call. I was standing on the veranda with my son, and we just left her in the palliative care. We'd been with her all the time, and we just said, look, we'll just go and we'll have some dinner and we'll come back. Well, as often is the way, right? People decide to pass away when all the family leave them in peace. Anyway, I'd got home and I think, Eden, you were there with Pa and my father and Michelle. They'd gone down to the restaurant, and I was at home with Logan. We get the call from the nurse saying, hey, your mum's just passed away. And I remember sitting on the veranda just wailing that she'd passed. Just as Guy had said, there'll be this wailing and gnashing of teeth. Well, we were having a holiday the following week. We planned to have a 2-week holiday, Michelle and I. So all of the appointment book was ruled out. We didn't have any clients, but we didn't plan for Mum to pass away that day. And we had work the next day and I had a full book because the next 2 weeks were empty. So we get home that night and we're sitting up in bed and we're asking ourselves the question, do we go back to work tomorrow? My mum's just passed away. Do I go to work tomorrow? Because if I go to work tomorrow, I've just got to get through tomorrow and then, I got 2 weeks off. Or do we cancel the book? Well, we decided to go to work. The day after my mum passed away, we went into work. And it was tough, right? Because patients knew Mum was sick and they were asking, and Michelle was kind of trying to word him up, don't ask Ben about his mum. And anyway, so we got through the morning and I got home at lunchtime. And, if anyone's had a loved one pass away, you kind of ask why. You start to question, what does all this mean? What does life mean? What does their life mean? What does my life mean now? Who am I? What's my identity? So I get home at lunchtime and I'm exhausted. So I climb into bed, but I couldn't sleep at lunch because I had a big afternoon. I just couldn't get off. And so I'm laying in bed at lunchtime and couldn't turn my mind off. So I put on an episode. And I put on an episode of Fear the Walking Dead. Who watches Walking Dead? How good is it, Kate? Do you love it? And Fear the Walking Dead is the sister program to The Walking Dead. Now, to give you an idea, Walking Dead is a zombie apocalypse movie. Everyone's turned into zombies except a few people. Of course, that's the movie you watch when your mum's just passed away. So I'm watching Fear the Walking Dead, and there is this scene. A group of people, the survivors, are in this big hotel, and they're surrounded by zombies. And heaps of people in the hotel have turned into zombies. And they're sitting having dinner, and Victor looks around, and Oscar's missing. So he goes looking for Oscar in the hotel. And he finds Oscar on one of the levels standing outside the bridal, the honeymoon suite. Because in the honeymoon suite is his wife, who's turned into a zombie. And Victor turns to Oscar and he says, Oscar, mate, come down. You've got to leave her. You've got to let this go. And Oscar turns to Victor. I'm sitting in bed, Mum's just passed away. I'm wondering, what's life all about? Oscar turns to Victor and he says, Victor, I can't let her go. I don't know who I'm going to be now she's gone. And that was the question. That was the question that I was having. Who am I now that my mum's passed away? And Victor says, Oscar, you will never be the same. But one day you will wake up new. The person that comes after she's gone. Oh, play that back again. And I played it back 3 or 4 times. And I got it, right? When my mum passed away, she leaves a legacy that I get an opportunity to take her character of strength and courage and determination and love and non-judgmental I get an opportunity to take on that character now that she's passed away. And you are all leaving a legacy, and one day you will leave a legacy. You'll leave a legacy around whether you had the willpower and could be trusted. You'll leave a legacy around whether you were committed to excellence. You'll leave a legacy around whether you care or not. What kind of legacy do you want to leave? And it's not about money. You know, Billy Graham, I wrote this down just before, the famous American evangelist said, the greatest legacy one can pass on to one's children and grandchildren is not money or material things accumulated in one's life, but a legacy of faith and character. Tonight we've been talking about character. We've been talking about personality, ethos, culture. A character of trust, a character of excellence, a character of caring. What's the character you're going to leave behind? This 8-week challenge is more than just losing weight. It's more than just getting strong. This is you developing the character and showing that character to your children. It's showing the character to your friends. It's showing that character to your partner. It's showing that character to your work colleagues. This is you leaving a legacy of character. So, in summary, go and find your theme park. Go and have joy. Experience that nervousness and the excitement again. Find your strong. Have willpower. Be committed to excellence. Be your best. And decide what kind of legacy that you want to leave. That's it from me, guys. But before we go, I need to know, what's your action on that? What's your action on do you care? What's the take home for you? Just throw that in the chat box for me. Do you care about you? Do you care about others? Do you seek to understand? Are you curious? Have you taken the time to really understand what's important to you? What really matters? What's the action step out of that last question that Lou asks? Do you care? Yeah, Shez, definitely need to put more weight into caring about you. Self-reflection, critical thinking, it's essential. Nice. What am I modeling, Kim? Awesome. I care about others more than myself. And can I say, Julianne, thank you for sharing that. And I see that a lot in the coaching clients that I some of them that I see. They're out saving the whales, saving the world, saving the environment, and their house is a mess. Their marriage is a mess. Their health is a mess. They're too busy looking out there, going, hey, look at all that I'm doing out here, but don't fucking look at me. Don't look over here. It's all smoke and mirrors, because that's just way too fucking hard to get that tidied up. Way better off to go and save the whales in the environment. Put the focus back here. Get your house in order. Get your marriage in order. Get your kids in order. Get your money in order. Get your health in order. Put the focus there. I love it. Figure out what comes next. Yeah. And that envisioning work that I'm going to gift you guys, that will certainly help you nail that. It's super powerful. More into caring about yourself. Yeah, good. My house is pretty clean, Julianne. That's good. This envisioning process, by the way, guys, if you choose to do it, there's many levels. You can play at all sorts of levels with everything, can't you, really? But you can potentially come up with something like this, right? That's my envisioning board from 2019. That's how I want my life to turn out. That's what I want it to look like, you know? If you were to go through my Facebook feed at the end of 2019 and beyond, 2021, 22, 23, if you would go through my Facebook feed, you'd see those pictures. You'd see those experiences. You'd see those kind of comments. You get to decide, because I can tell you, if you don't decide what you want your life to be like, I will for you. Or your partner will. Or some other fucker will. And it's not necessarily what you really want. So decide how you want it to turn out. Julianne's got a vision board. House is in order. Where is Julianne? I'm going to see, where's Julianne's face? Where are you, Julianne? Oh, there you are. I love it. You've been awesome, by the way, Julianne. Can I say, despite being on Zoom, you've had great attention, eye contact, facial expressions. So thank you. You've been really, really good. Anyway, that's a wrap from me. I'm going to pass back to Sheridan. Thank you so much for your time and energy tonight, and for playing along and listening to me give you the 3 questions to unleashing greatness.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Ben. You are sensational. And guys, I know that I didn't build him up more than I needed to, because he never disappoints. And you are brilliant in what you teach us. So thank you so much for your time, Dr. Ben. I really, really appreciate it. You have a beautiful family, and the fact that we got to spend an hour with you is awesome. I also want to commend you guys again for getting on and investing into yourself and into your mind, and also for staying the course. We usually run these for about half an hour, and we got a double banger tonight, which is awesome. But thank you guys for staying engaged, for engaging in it and participating. And just super, super grateful. And I know that I speak on behalf of everyone when I say we're really, really grateful for your knowledge and your time tonight, Ben. And I know that we all got a lot out of that. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll see you in the morning for PT. You're in 7 a.m. with Maddie Dean. And all of you guys at home, thank you guys again so much. Really proud of you all, and we'll see you next time.
See you guys.
Happy
Stay amazing.
Thanks, legend.
Bye.